They said it was impossible. They said Alzheimer's had no cure. And for decades, they were right. Billions of dollars were spent trying to slow it down, to ease the symptoms, to give families just a little more time with their loved ones. But a cure? Out of reach. Until now. In a shocking twist that has left the scientific world stunned, researchers have uncovered a powerful natural compound, not in a high-tech lab, but hidden in the dusty pages of ancient medical texts. And what's more shocking, it might actually work. This isn't science fiction. This isn't a wild internet rumor. Peer-reviewed studies are beginning to support what traditional healers have claimed for centuries, that nature might hold the key to reversing memory loss and even stopping Alzheimer's in its tracks. In this video, we're diving deep into this breakthrough. We'll explore what scientists found, how it works, and why pharmaceutical giants are scrambling to keep up. And by the end of this, you'll see why people around the world are calling this discovery the biggest medical shock of the decade. But first, what exactly is Alzheimer's disease? And why has it been so hard to beat? Alzheimer's disease. The word alone brings fear. It's more than just forgetfulness. It's a cruel erasure of everything that makes us who we are. Memories, faces, names, even the sense of self, slowly fading into darkness. Over 55 million people around the world are living with dementia, and Alzheimer's is the most common cause. It doesn't just affect the elderly. Families, caregivers, entire generations suffer as they watch their loved ones disappear mentally while remaining physically present. So what causes it? The brain of an Alzheimer's patient is marked by something called amyloid plaques, clumps of protein that build up between nerve cells and block communication. These plaques, along with tangles of another protein called tau, essentially choke the brain from the inside. Over time, neurons die. The brain shrinks. Memories vanish. For decades, scientists have tried everything. From anti-inflammatory drugs to advanced gene therapies, nothing has offered a real solution. Most treatments only manage symptoms, and even then, just for a short time. Why? Because Alzheimer's is incredibly complex. It doesn't have a single cause or trigger. Genetics, inflammation, oxidative stress, poor blood flow, they all play a role. And until now, the medical world believed that we needed a miracle to fix it. But maybe that miracle has been hiding in plain sight all along, in the roots of an ancient herb used by traditional healers for over 3,000 years. It all started with a group of neuroscientists in southern India who weren't looking for a miracle, just better data. While analyzing brain health in rural regions, they noticed something strange. Despite poor access to modern healthcare, the elderly in some villages had surprisingly low rates of cognitive decline. In fact, Alzheimer's was almost unheard of in certain pockets of the population. What was protecting their brains? The team dug deeper. Blood samples, lifestyle analysis, diet journals. And one pattern kept emerging. A bitter-tasting herb used daily in teas, soups, and traditional medicines. Its name? Bacopa Monnieri, also known as Brahmi. A plant used in Ayurvedic medicine for over 3,000 years to enhance memory, calm the mind, and sharpen focus. At first, the idea seemed too good to be true. But when researchers started testing extracts of Bacopa in laboratory settings, what they found shocked them. Mice genetically engineered to develop Alzheimer's showed significant cognitive improvements after receiving the herb. Brain scans revealed a visible reduction in amyloid plaques. Neuron activity improved. Memory tasks that were previously impossible became doable again. Then came the human studies. In small clinical trials, older adults who consumed Bacopa extract for just 12 weeks showed measurable improvement in memory recall and attention span. Not just a slight boost, a noticeable change. Some even performed better than the placebo group by over 30%. And this was with a simple plant. No patents. No billion-dollar labs. Just nature and knowledge passed down through generations of healers. The world was about to wake up. But few were ready for what scientists would discover next. How this little green herb might actually work. So how can a plant, growing in swamps and riverbanks, do what billions of dollars in pharmaceutical research could not? The secret lies in Bacopa's complex cocktail of active compounds, especially a group of powerful antioxidants known as bacicides. These compounds do something extraordinary. They protect neurons from damage, help rebuild synaptic connections, and reduce the oxidative stress that accelerates brain aging. Let's break it down. One of the key issues in Alzheimer's is chronic inflammation in the brain. Bacopa acts like a firefighter, calming down the inflammatory response and creating a safer environment for neurons to thrive. But it doesn't stop there. Studies show Bacopa increases the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a kind of fertilizer for your brain. BDNF helps grow new brain cells, strengthens existing ones, and enhances communication between them. That's huge. Most Alzheimer's drugs don't even touch that process. Even more fascinating, Bacopa seems to interact directly with acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter most responsible for memory and learning. It prevents the breakdown of acetylcholine, allowing the brain to stay switched on longer, with clearer thought and sharper recall. Imagine a foggy brain suddenly getting sunlight. That's what many users of Bacopa report. Improved clarity, better sleep, reduced anxiety, and in some cases, dramatic memory improvement. And unlike many prescription drugs, Bacopa doesn't sedate or confuse. It supports the brain's natural healing, gently, gradually, and holistically. So why haven't we heard more about this? Why is this potential breakthrough only now making headlines? The answer might not surprise you. Long before modern science gave it a name, memory loss was feared and fought with every means available, especially by ancient healers. In the sacred texts of Ayurveda, dating back over 3,000 years, Bacopa Monnieri was called the herb of grace. Not for its flavor, not for its looks, but for what it did to the mind. Ancient Indian physicians believed that Bacopa could open the doorway to divine memory. Monks and scholars consumed it before long meditation sessions. Children were given Bacopa-infused drinks during exam seasons. In remote villages, grandmothers passed down recipes for Brahmi tea to keep their minds fresh like river water. But it wasn't just India. In traditional Chinese medicine, Bacopa-like herbs were used to treat forgetfulness and clouded thoughts. In some parts of Africa and Southeast Asia, elders chewed its leaves to stay mentally sharp into their 90s. These weren't isolated folk tales. They were consistent observations, passed from generation to generation. Then came modern medicine, synthetic drugs, patent wars. Natural remedies were pushed to the sidelines, labeled as alternative, unscientific, or even dangerous. Despite thousands of years of use, Bacopa nearly vanished from global awareness. It took a new generation of scientists, willing to look outside the box, to bring this forgotten wisdom back into the spotlight. Now, with brain scans, clinical data, and modern tools, we're starting to understand what the ancients always knew. Healing doesn't always come in a pill. Sometimes it comes from a plant, growing quietly by the water's edge. But not everyone's happy about this rediscovery. And what happens next could change everything. Whenever a cheap, natural remedy begins to show real results, especially one that threatens billion-dollar pharmaceutical markets, controversy is never far behind. And that's exactly what's happening now. As news about Bacopa Monnieri and its potential to treat Alzheimer's spreads, the backlash has begun. Critics claim that the studies aren't large enough, that results are inconclusive, that more research is needed, a phrase that, let's be honest, often means not profitable enough yet. Behind the scenes, some researchers report that funding for Bacopa studies has mysteriously dried up. Institutions once open to herbal research are backing away. Why? Could it be that a natural remedy, one that can't be patented, is seen as a threat to big pharma? Let's look at the numbers. In 2024 alone, the Alzheimer's drug market generated over $8 billion globally. New drugs are being released at record prices, some costing $56,000 per year, while offering only modest symptom relief. If a simple plant extract could outperform these drugs at a fraction of the cost, well, that's a financial disaster for someone. Of course, we're not saying there's a grand conspiracy, but let's just say, when there's this much money involved, the truth can take a back seat. Still, the momentum is growing. Independent labs, biohackers, holistic doctors, they're all beginning to explore Bacopa seriously. Some are calling it nature's nootropic. Others go further, saying it may be the first real hope in the fight against Alzheimer's. So what does this mean for you? Should you rush out and start taking Bacopa tomorrow? Let's talk about that next. So, here's the big question. Should you run to the nearest herbal shop and start loading up on Bacopa Monnieri? Let's get real. Bacopa isn't magic. It's not an overnight cure. It's a plant, a powerful one, yes, but it works best when used correctly and consistently, as part of a holistic approach to brain health. Here's what we know so far. White heavy checkmark memory support. Clinical studies have shown that Bacopa can improve memory recall, especially in older adults and students under stress. White heavy checkmark cognitive clarity. Many users report reduced brain fog, improved focus, and better sleep after a few weeks of use. White heavy checkmark neuroprotection. Bacopa has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that may help protect your brain from long-term damage, the very kind that leads to Alzheimer's. But there's a catch. You need the right form. Most experts recommend standardized Bacopa extract, with at least 20% bacosides, that's the active compound. You'll find it in capsules, powders, and liquid tinctures. Look for products that are third-party tested and ideally free from fillers or synthetic additives. Start slow. A common beginner dose is around 300 to 500 milligrams per day with food. Give it a few weeks. This isn't like caffeine. The effects build over time. And yes, talk to your doctor, especially if you're on medications or have any existing conditions. Bacopa is natural, but it's still potent, and it may interact with sedatives, thyroid meds, or antidepressants. Also remember, Bacopa works best when combined with healthy habits, clean diet, regular sleep, movement, hydration, and mental activity. It's not a miracle in a bottle, but it can be a powerful ally on your journey to mental resilience. Now, if this discovery blew your mind, we're not done yet, because there are dozens of other forgotten remedies with equally shocking potential. And that's where you come in. If this information opened your eyes, you have a choice. You can keep scrolling, or you can be part of something bigger. Alzheimer's steals more than memories, it steals futures. But what if the answer has been hiding in our forests, rivers, and ancient texts all along? What if we've been walking past the cure for decades? Right now, you have the power to share this knowledge, to help others protect their minds, to start conversations that challenge the status quo, and maybe, just maybe, to help change the future of brain health forever. Backhand index pointing right. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe for more deep dives into ancient remedies backed by real science. Backhand index pointing right. Leave a comment. Have you tried Bacopa? What's your experience? And remember, sometimes the answers we're searching for aren't locked away in billion-dollar labs. Sometimes they're growing wild right under our feet. See you in the next video, where we uncover the next forgotten cure the world needs to remember.